So, Karen, thanks for agreeing to speak with us today. We're here in Poznan at the BASIC conference. Maybe if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself to begin with.
I'm originally from Grenada in the Caribbean, and I've lived all over the world. I moved to Stuttgart about 5 years ago, and I focus on ESP IT students.
Okay, now Karen, I'm online quite a bit, and I know that you're online even more. How do you find time for this?
Time is a question of priorities. I don't watch television, and I think that if most people think about it, if they watch TV 2 hours or 3 hours a night and multiplied that by 7 days a week, you're talking about 15 to 21 hours of time, and as soon as you erase that out of the question, you've got loads of time for any kind of personal development or working on in social media.
Okay, now I know that you're very keen on social media.
Yes.
And perhaps you can talk a little bit now about social media and your teaching, your business English teaching.
Well, I run a Ning platform with some of my students. With one particular company, I have 38 students on the platform, and the principle behind it, or the idea behind that, is Dogme 2.0. So we don't have any textbooks. Everything is completely emergent from one class to the next class. For example, recently the students wanted a review of grammar, and so I had them create PowerPoint slides of their own and then upload that into the Ning. So I have 5 groups within the company, and this was one group, and then they created the PowerPoint presentations and loaded it up for everyone else to be able to learn the grammar. We watch videos in there, and what I have found is that my students don't watch one video. They watch 6 or 7, and then they ask me, and then they ask me, where is the video blah blah blah, but that was not the video that I loaded, it was just something that YouTube suggested. I found a huge amount of learner autonomy. The students are online at random hours, and they have discovered features that I haven't yet taught them. So it's a very, very dynamic learning environment, and I think this is really the way that teaching can go, whether it's teaching English or teaching any other subject.
So Karen, just to be clear, you do this as part of a blended learning approach, is that right?
Yes, I have classes with 5 groups twice a week, and one class is conversation, and the other class is in a training room, in a computer training room, and we work online. And then, because they have the platform, then all of their post and pre-task and optional tasks, because I don't use the word homework, are all based on the Ning.
Okay, so what's the mix roughly between face-to-face classroom teaching and online study?
Well, it was supposed to be 50-50. So we have conversation class without any computers, and then even when we're in our computer training room, there's a huge amount of conversation, but then, as I said, they do a lot of work off classroom time, and so it's probably balancing out at 50-50.
All right. Now, you mentioned Ning there, which is a social networking tool that allows us to set up our own networks.
Yeah, it's a Facebook for small groups, or the best way to describe it is a walled garden. It means that no one else apart from my students at that particular software company have any access to anything that we're doing, which gives them this real sense of power and ability to share without worrying about whether someone's going to see their words or see their mistake.
Let's move on now to your own use of social media, because I know that you're very keen on this area.
So Twitter is this incredible addictive location in the virtual space, where you are able to talk to other teachers in real time. You can ask questions, you can answer questions, you can share materials, you can share articles that you've written on your blogs, and you also have this contact with people who really know what they're talking about. Scott Thornbury is online, as is Jeremy Harmer, and they are very happy to share information. You know, Scott has a tendency to share his food, beautiful photos, but Jeremy does really ask some good questions and responds back to that feedback.
Is this the so-called democratization effect?
Yes, definitely. That's definitely. I feel that all of us teachers, we're on a level playing field, and no one is really the master of anybody. And so we are sharing. It's definitely not a case of people being on different levels. And it's a wonderful sense of community, a virtual staff room, and a very, very exciting place to be.
Now, PLN, Personal Learning Network.
Or Professional Learning Network, depending on which way you want to look at it.
Okay. Now, what's the place of Twitter in that?
Well, this is where you can develop a daily contact with a professional learning network. You can have a PLN on Facebook, or you can have a PLN in your staff room, but the chances are you don't have that same level of contact. And on Twitter, at any point in time, if I'm confused, or there was one case I was asked to substitute for another trainer to do some teacher training in drama. And I use a lot of role plays in my own lessons, but to teach or train on using drama, that was a little bit beyond my scope, and I had 2 weeks to get a workshop ready. And you know, how many books would I have to read? And Ken Wilson jumped in there, sent me a chapter of his book. Lindsay Clanfield sent over some PDFs from some work that he'd done in Macmillan. And within 3 or 4 days, I had an 8-hour workshop organized.
It's brilliant, yeah.
Just, you know, randomly.
Karen, we're running a little bit short of time.
Yes.
It's been really interesting to hear your thoughts on using social media, both in teaching and in personal development. Perhaps we could end with a piece of advice that you might like to give teachers entering the wonderful world of social media for the first time.
Be yourself. That's probably the most important thing. Go on there with a photograph of you. You don't have to look like Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie. No one cares. But we want to know that it's you. And don't be afraid. Ask questions. All of us are happy to answer and to share.
All right, that's fantastic. Thanks very much.